How about this one from Oprah? Take a listen.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again.
Yes, Libras are pointing fingers here and there. Recently, Stephan Smith blames Michelle Obama and Oprah for Kamala Harris' election defeat by Donald Trump. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm going to show you all the videos, but before I do, if you love what I'm doing here, please share the video and thumbs up, check if your notifications is on.
I think we severely underestimated the amount of women around us who will never be able to stop seeking the approval and validation of the white men around them. And y'all really exposed yourself with the results of this election. These white women who voted against our interests, these are the women that we went to high school with, that we were best friends with in college, that we played sports with our whole lives. But they chose to listen to their dads. They chose to listen to their boyfriends or their husbands. They chose to put the interests of the white men around them in their lives above the interests of women, above the interests of minorities, above the interests of oppressed people. I will never be able to wrap my mind around that. How you can be a highly educated woman, see how women around you are being treated, see how minorities around you are being treated, and still choose to value the opinion of the white men around you the most and vote for their interests. One of the most important women in my life married a rich white man, and she chose to vote for his interests instead of the interests of her 3 daughters. The silence from all of these women right now who could not bring themselves to vote for Harris, to vote for another woman in this election, is shameful, and we will not forget.
You guys were a fucking fool. You voted for a liar. So we're going to see, since they were able to get planes and fly them all over America, then I know they can get some planes and fly them out. So if your leader doesn't do the mass deportation like he promised you, you were sold a bucket full of goods and
I thought I have seen it or what some of these Libras used to accuse Trump supporters of doing. They are doing just that. Taking a look at this lady, you just saw. Why do you care what white women think? I cannot wrap my head around why these highly educated women care more about what their dad or their white men around them think than their own interests. The same talking point like Joy Real. Insane, right?
How about this one from Oprah? Take a listen.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. And let me be very clear. If you do not make sure that the people in your life can get to the polls, that is a mistake. Deciding not to decide, that is most definitely a vote to let other people control your future.
Civil Rights Act of 1964, Voting Rights Act of 1965, been in place since 1965. That's spanning more than nearly 60 years, okay? And you're gonna look an audience in the face and you're going to tell them that if you vote for Donald Trump, you may not ever be able to cast a vote again. Who believed that? Who believed that coming from Oprah? Truly, who believed that? This is the kind of stuff that alienates an electorate, that alienates a vote or a voter.
Yes, when you take a look at what Oprah and Michelle Obama did, they struggled through to create divisions among people. This man saw it. According to this article from the Daily Mail, the Donald Trump critics and ESPN host is blaming the pair-Helvig in part for creating division between men and women. In particular, Smith was upset that the former First Lady told an audience that a vote for Trump is a vote against us. If we don't agree with you, we are against you. Smith questioned, how do you think the men feel about that? So we have to do what you tell us to do, otherwise we are anti you. You thought that work, right? Do you all know anything about most men? You think that's going to work? Smith sees this. A lot of Democrats don't understand what this guy is actually talking about. They thought bringing out Michelle and Oprah is a game changer, but they didn't know.
I was surprised at how lopsided it was. I was not surprised by the outcome. I saw the outcome coming from a mile away. You have to take into account, listen, we respect our president, Joe Biden, but here's the reality. He got into office. He promised to be a transitional president, to be a stopgap to pave the way for somebody else to come on board. Into the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. It did not happen. The Democrats was flying high. He felt the momentum because he was the incumbent. And instead of leaving, he decided to stay. When he decided to stay, the Democrats were in a quandary because they were expecting him to leave. Now he wants to stay. They're around him. They're seeing the fastball has dissipated to some degree. They're seeing that he's not what he used to be. And what do you do about it? You grease the skids. There's no primary for him to experience. You let him go on stage June 27th, and clearly he was exposed. 3.5 weeks later, he's forced and compelled to step away because donors to the Democratic establishment, they were not going to support that. And then Kamala Harris is inserted. I don't blame her one bit.
Same.
I thought she did a phenomenal job.
Yep.
She went all out. She did what she could. But you can't overcome that kind of situation. And remember, there's 2 C words that are incredibly important in America. Capitalism is one. Competition is another, because it's a metaphor for capitalism in a lot of people's eyes. Because you were inserted, even though you were the vice president and it was the Biden-Harris administration, you had folks who are independent. I'm not talking about those on the right. I'm not talking about those on the left.
What Smith is saying here, it might make a lot of sense for people who are struggling to comfort themselves after this. Where was Smith to give out this advice? He has always been there in support of what she was doing. All the campaigns have been following him all through. But there is one mistake this prophet you understand. They didn't inform Kamala that stop attacking Trump. All what she did was to go after Trump. Oh, this all through Democrat. They forgot that they were supposed to pass that message, sell themselves what they can do for the country. That is what these people are supposed to do. They thought, oh, when they do these cut videos out of context to lie to people, a lot of this change people's mind. They see it. When you go through their Twitter feed, their Twitter account, that is what they did all, lies telling. Then at the same time, it didn't work. People have realized that politics at this time, from my observations, if you are not able to say yourself what you will do to the people, how you can better them off, you will not be able to succeed. And Kamala failed to do that.
Who said, wait a minute. She didn't experience a primary either. And the last time we saw her in a primary was 4 years ago, and she didn't even make it to Iowa. They used that as an excuse to point to her level of inexperience. Then you got the war in Russia and Ukraine. You got the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Hamas and Hezbollah and all of that stuff. And you had Trump using codes. Look, do you want her? Where is she? Where's the interviews? Where's she showing herself? Where's the tough questions? Where's the interrogation? And he leaned on certain things. And you knew people were going to gravitate to that because right now, as divided as our country is, fear comes associated with that. And because that fear was there, he fed off of it.
Yeah.
And people bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
fashion
And that's why he's the
generally
president.
It is crazy to actually see these ladies listening. He is educating them. They were spewing, attacking Trump every single day. They will never say things like this because they cannot pass out good political advice. All they do was Trump, 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 Trump. Now, Kamala refused to take interview. The view will back them up. Kamala refused to even, when they realized the polls were now worse, which I don't even trust the polls, Kamala rushed the view, and they think God was here. When a question surfaced, oh, will you be different from Biden? Kamala said, no, I don't really see a change. That video went viral, and that was the end of everything.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
Many years ago.
Then the decisive result of this election gives us not just an answer to the question as to what Americans want to do along those lines, it also gives us a really big to-do list.
For healthcare, democracy, and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Let's keep validating the same outlets that continuously undermine us at every single turn. Sometimes I have to beg politicians for interviews for my channel for months and months and months and months and still don't even hear back.
He's now understanding what is happening. The mainstream media cannot make you to succeed at this time. We saw what Trump did, going to podcasts, Joe Rogan. Kamala never did that. Oh, CNN, The View. Who is watching The View?
Authoritarians and people that he affiliates closely with and strongmen abroad in regimes like that, it is not uncommon to jail political dissidents or legislative.
If these people don't adjust, a lot of people will continue to tilt away from the Democrat Party.
I'm so proud of her.
America failed women.
But we know now.
Definition of protection without Trump over it.
Throw a birthday party.
Hey, you're calling yourself.
If you are
What he does at age 71.
Take the white eye.
It's just about working class people.
Can I just add one other thing?
To focus on not putting in place.
Iowa called for
Donald Trump, once again elected to the White House.
blow me.